Hey everybody, it's old Watachi again. I'm making this video because I'm not sure if I'm gonna do very many more before this is either done and over with, or what's going to happen. I feel, I've spent at least 15 years, dedicated at least 10 years to trying to wake everybody up, or as many people as I can. Some of you woke up, and I appreciate. I have people that before it's gotten to where it is today that used to follow me. I go back as far as MySpace. That's where I started, and and then I moved to Facebook. Once I found out about Facebook, I didn't know about Facebook, but once I found out about Facebook, I went on there. But I had people that found out about me years ago that have followed me ever since. Even when I had to move to YouTube because Facebook kept shutting me down and taking my pages, and hell, they even took control of several of my email accounts. They've done a lot to me, but trying to shut me up. But I still pushed on, and like I said, I feel like I dedicated at least the last 10 years trying to wake people up to all kinds of lies that we've been lied to about, from the laws that we are being governed under, the jurisdictions, to fake space, fake gravity, all that, all the way up to what's happening right now. I've done a lot of stuff over Second Amendment rights, First Amendment rights, Fourth and Fifth, and the 16th Amendment. I've done videos on the 14th Amendment. I've done videos on. I mean, you guys can go back on all my channel and see. I don't even know how many videos I've got. And I'm not going to take the time to count them. If there's somewhere I can go to that'll tell me that I can just see it, then please somebody tell me where that's at, because I'm curious as to how many videos I got. But it's getting to the point now, what I believe is getting ready to happen is, and I'm going to explain that here in a few minutes, but it's time for me to focus on my family, focus on what we're going to do, how we're going to get through this. Because, folks, this ain't going to just be over in a couple of weeks. I don't even believe it's going to be over in a couple of months. I believe, actually, that this isn't going to end. It's going to change everything. But once they get us locked down, I don't believe they're going to unlock us until they get several things done. And man, everybody's got to admit, with the closing of Vegas tonight, all gambling machines, everything, because in Vegas, people, they got slot machines in gas stations, and every store you go in, you can gamble. They're going to shut down all gaming, everything. So they're basically shutting down Vegas now. I haven't heard of a curfew yet, but they said that only necessary businesses will be open, or non-essential. All non-essential businesses won't be open, just essential businesses. And that leaves it wide open. That lets them pick and choose and change the rules. And, they're taking down what's left of the middle class people. That's coming down. They won't be able to get through work, survive through this. And the people that they want to survive, just like Trump's already done, he's bailed out the airlines, of course, and he'll bail out the banks, and he'll bail out all these big corporations with the money that you used to have, that used to be yours. They'll be bailed out, but you're not going to get no bailout. And if you believe for a second they're going to start writing paychecks, $1,000 to everybody who can't go to work, that's a joke. That ain't never going to happen. But people, you know, I hear, you know, these big channels and everything. Um, and I've named a few of them that you guys know about, but there's many more. They're real big channels, and even like even back in the day when I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh, you know, and he told a lot of truth. But just like these channels that are monetized, and they're, you know, they're big. They got 300, 400, 500,000 people or bigger, or even bigger. I mean, those are even small. Some people got millions, but they're basically, because of the money that's wrapped up in it, these people are allowing their First Amendment rights to be stomped on. And I hear them all say it. Oh, well, I can't say that. Well, I can't let this video play very long because they'll copyright or they'll take down my channel or whatever. See, they've used so many, they've used their money to control their rights. And these are, some of these guys are big time right activists. That's what their whole channel is about, is rights and telling everybody to, you know, you got to know your rights, you got to know the law and stuff. And then they turn around and let themselves be silenced because they're now so tied up in it that the money they're making off of it's what they're paying their bills with. So that's what I call control. That's somebody who's controlled. Rush Limbaugh, uh, those other guys that are Trump backers that are on Fox News. I can't remember none of their names right now. I got more important things to worry about. But these guys, they're talking about how the left's all fucked up and the things they do, and yet they got a line that they walk up to that line, but they will never cross it, because if they do, they'll copyright strike them or some shit like YouTube does, and or demonetize them. Then they don't get paid for doing it, and they lose their job. So these people are all just as controlled as the people in Washington, D.C. They're no different. They're letting their rights be taken from them because of money. Sorry, that's the truth. Straight up truth. If you can't say something because you're afraid you're going to lose the money off of that video, then they've done silenced you. Sorry. But anyway, to get back to, you know, a lot of these big channels, you know, they're all saying, I've been saying it for at least a week now, there's something stinky in the fucking barn, and we need to find out what it is, because the shit ain't adding up. Shit ain't adding up. Something bigger's coming. And they're all saying it. But nobody's saying something that to me is so obvious that I can't believe nobody else has thought of it. But I feel like this, and from this, for this statement I'm getting ready to make right here, this is only my opinion, but it's an opinion that comes from 10 years of dedicated of researching the government, the laws, the legalese, and all the lies that we've been told as to why I feel this way. And if everybody knew what I knew, they would probably think the same thing. And believe me, folks, I don't know more than anybody else. There's people out there that know a lot more than I do. And there's people out there that know a lot less. But this is an obvious thing to me, people. If you have one country, which everybody keeps saying that, you know, if America falls, that's it. That's the last great hope for the world and stuff. If America goes down, you know, what is everybody else going to do? But people, there's only one reason we haven't went down yet. There's only one, I mean, it's the same reason it goes back to Japan after they bombed Pearl Harbor, and some of those generals wanted to go into the mainland. And the one famous general told them, you don't want to go in there because there's a gun behind every blade of grass. That, people, is what I believe this whole thing is about. They've been working on our Second Amendment for I don't know how long now, people. Probably, if you really looked into it, probably goes back to at least somewhere in the 1800s, they decided they needed to get rid of our guns. Probably the Civil War, at the end of the Civil War. But because of the Constitution, they had a hard time doing it. But people, let's put it like this. They know we have, and I'll tell you what, even with Trump, when Obama was in office, there was more guns sold during Obama's reign than probably any other president in the time that America has been around. And it's only because he was going after it so hard, and the people he surrounded himself with, that it told everybody, you better go buy them now if you're going to have them. Well, Trump's doing the same thing. This pandemic's doing the same thing. You can't go anywhere and buy a gun right now. You can't even hardly buy any bullets, and if you do, it's going to be, you can only buy a couple boxes. Now, they did this a few years back, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You couldn't even buy a 22 shell anywhere, a bullet, unless you went online and paid somebody outrageous amounts for it. Matter of fact, I sold every 22 I had because it pissed me off so bad. And I had several of them. But how you figure you could, if you got a country that has more guns, and you know what, folks, they don't know how many guns we got. These some bitches, and I didn't do one thing illegal. And in the last, I'd say over a 3-year span, I bought over 100 guns. Only 3 of them came out of a damn gun shop. And there wasn't nothing legal. I didn't break one law buying them in the way I bought them. And I had over 100 guns that the government had no idea how many guns I had. They still don't. They don't know what I have or anything. And see, people, that's the thing. That's another thing, but I don't want to go into that right now. Let's stick with this gun thing. If you think about it, critical thinking people, see, you guys got to understand, they don't only have smart people, and these people, these corrupted people in Washington, D.C. are smart. Most of them are lawyers and judges, So they've got a lot of schooling, background, critical thinking capabilities, plus they have what you call supercomputers and D-Wave computers and all this shit to go with it. So this ain't just stuff that they work up in their own minds. They conjure this stuff up using AI technology and everything else. And they can build a model out of it and run it a million different ways and see which way is going to work best. So how do you figure you got one country left on the earth that's allowed, that there's more guns than there are people? How do you figure you're going to take the guns away from those people in order to have your new world order? Well, one way you can do it is just attack and keep fighting and see who wins. You're going to have to drop bombs, you're going to have to do it all. So you're going to destroy an infrastructure of the country that you're fighting, which would be America. You're going to end up destroying the infrastructure too. So even if you win, look at what it's going to cost you on the other side. So they don't want to do that. They don't want to do it that way. So they start pumping it into these supercomputers and shit. And it comes up and tells them what you do is you start a pandemic. Because they've typed in all the constitutional laws and all this stuff into those supercomputers to see if they can find ways around that constitutional law. In order to make us willingly to go along with their crap, if they can make it seem like the Constitution says they have the right to do this, they will not even have to fire a shot at us, and we will bend over and take whatever they give us. As long as they convince us the Constitution says they have this right. And what are they doing? They pumped it in here, and this damn computer probably came up with how to make this, to do it with a pandemic, how to make it look like it wasn't even America where it started. It started in China, and it went to Italy and France, and it went all over. America was like, it was ways down the list before it got to America. But what if America was the whole target? What if everything before America was just done to convince the American people that this is happening not because of the government, but because of nature? Well, you tell them that this cold, flu, pneumonia is now so deadly, even though they got less than 10,000 people that's died from it. It's so deadly that you people need to stay home, lock yourselves in your houses, and wait for the government to come, because they're coming to help. What do we do as Americans? We buy up every piece of toilet paper in the country. Every piece of toilet paper and handy wipes and hand sanitizer in the country. Makes total sense to me. You can still go buy canned food, and you can buy rice and beans, and you can buy stuff that people don't realize that you're going to need if you're going to be locked down for a long time. And that doesn't take up a whole lot of storage space in your freezer. That stuff you can still buy, but everything else they took off the shelf. Why? Because they told us this was going to be a 2-week thing. Now, Vegas is shutting down for 30 days, and then they'll reevaluate in 30 days. And then I've also heard things that go back that this isn't going to end until possibly the end of July, 1st of August. So, do you think you got enough toilet paper, people, to last you till August? I don't think so, folks. But anyway, they use this pandemic, supposedly. Now, they called it a world pandemic after it was less than 6,000 people dead and I think 70,000 people infected. And they called it a world pandemic. Well, this ain't turning out the way they wanted it to. They wanted it to be bigger and better, more people, because the numbers aren't adding up, folks, even if you just go by the infected. So this thing ain't going to kill as many people as they thought. But if they can get the infected numbers up, that's the only way they're going to lock down the whole country. So what do you do when this first starts is you got to ensure that this shit's going to spread. Now, they already know it can lay dormant in somebody before it affects them. So they got some time to play with. The numbers ain't adding up. But if they start sending, I don't know, let's say some infected people into different parts of the country, and they've been doing it for a little while, because hell, even in Ohio, they stated that there's 100,000 people in Ohio that have it that they don't even know they have it. Now, I want to tell this story because one of the people I know that works in a doctor's office, they weren't accepting patients coming in. And I was told this the other day, and I'm going to tell it. They weren't accepting patients, but some man come into the building, and the woman was asking why he's there, and he said something. I can't remember why he kept saying he was there, but they was telling him he had to leave. And he was refusing to leave. And they were saying, man, with the infection going around and everything, we can't have you in this building. And he was still refusing to leave. So one of the nurses grabbed a thermometer, and I know this is a fact. One of the nurses grabbed a thermometer, put it in his mouth, stood there for a minute. He had a fever, so he was infected with something. They didn't test him what it was, but he had a fever. He was infected, or what do they call it, where you can infect, contagious. So they made him leave. But this guy told him, man, I don't even feel sick or anything. So, they say there could be 100,000 people that have it in Ohio that don't even know it. Well, with that little bit of information that I got from somebody I know, then maybe that might be true. It still doesn't mean that many people are going to die. But they got to get these numbers up somehow, and I don't care if they have to go out here and spray this shit extra heavy on somebody to cause more numbers to grow. That's what they will do in order to get what they want. And what I think they're coming after, and why I think they will do this, and probably are across the country right now, probably spraying in some manner, somehow, to make this, not to make the actual deaths more deaths, but to make more infected. And then they'll just use, instead of the deaths, they'll still use the infected as a reason to lock us down. And if you watch, I'll bet you these numbers really start blazing here in the next day or two. And if they do, then you know something's fishy, people. If these numbers just start racking out, then you know this is a setup. But this is it, people. If they get us locked down in our houses, they're going to do the same damn thing they did down Katrina, because that's what they did after Katrina hit. And there's many, many, many videos of it. They told them people to go in their houses and lock the doors. They wait for the government. The government's coming. They're going to be there to help. And when they saw the soldiers coming down the streets and everything, going door to door, they thought they were there to help. And they were. They were there to help themselves to your weapons and ammo, and disarmed them. All them people, all the law-abiding citizens down there were disarmed. Now, the criminals weren't disarmed, but all the law-abiding citizens were. And if you don't think, if they get us locked down in our houses nationwide to where we can't see what they are doing, they can roll tanks down the damn street. As long as they don't come down your street, you don't see them. But I'll tell you something else that's going to happen. And I believe if Italy and France is already locked down, where they are locked into their houses like I'm hearing, then I bet it's already happened there. They're going to take down the internet and the phones, so we can't talk to each other. Once they lock us in our houses, we'll lose internet and phone. And they're already making claims right now that with all these people going home and working at home on their computers instead of in the offices, that this could cause a strain on the internet and cause it to collapse. So you can rest assured that's going to happen. I'm trying to think here, people. I want to make sure I get everything in this. So to make it clear, I think they're coming for the guns, and they're going to use this to get the guns. If they lock us in our houses, they got us where they want us. The militias won't be able to militia up, because some of these towns, you can't be more than 25 people at one place. And if you're out in public, you can't be closer than 6 foot to each other. So how are you going to get out of your house if you're locked in your house to go get up with your buddies? You 3%ers, you freedom fighters, you oath keepers, oath takers, all of you. How are you going to get together to stand up and put a fight? You're not going to be able to. They're going to have you in your house. Another thing you're going to have to worry about that they're not talking about. Not even I ain't heard nobody talk about this. If you lock down 350 million people in the United States, what are you going to do with 150 million of them that are addicted to damn heroin, cocaine, meth, pain pills, and every other addiction that they won't be able to get get satisfied? What are you going to do with those people? Because when these people can't get their drugs and they start getting sick and their bodies start aching and they can't sleep because they have full body jerks and shit to keep them awake. And they need that heroin, or they need that crack, or they need that meth, or they need that pain pill. How do you think you're going to lock that many people down? They're not going to. Hell, the amount of addicted people in every area across this nation, and especially on heroin right now. Seeing as how the American government is the dealer of the heroin dealers. I mean, they're the biggest heroin dealers on the earth. Hell, they can keep their shit going. They'll just go door to door. You need heroin? Yeah, okay, here you go. You need heroin? Yeah, here you go. Hell, they've been passing out needles, and the cops have been passing out needles and shit for a long time now for the drug addicts. What are they going to do with these people? Well, those people will go out, and then they'll just come up missing. And they will have been picked up by somebody, probably taken, if they're not real bad, maybe released with a $1,000 fine after 30 days in jail. Or if they're homeless or something like that, they'll just take them somewhere and put them in a detention camp, resettlement camp, FEMA camp, whatever you want to call it. So, I don't know. That's something to think about, folks. Big time, big time. Oh, I saw something else I saw. I saw a video of, I think it was some doctors or scientists or something. They were talking about how, it's not right that people can get on the internet and be able to talk about how climate change isn't real, be able to talk about how this COVID-19 virus isn't a pandemic, how it isn't real, it's just a culture, that they just can't have this, They say they need to be able to tell the people what they need to tell them, and the people believe it and go on. This stuff of other people contradicting what they say, they just can't, it's hard to deal with people in that way. What is that telling you, people? What is that telling you? If they get us locked down, they're going to take down the internet. They're going to take down the phones. So there's no communications. The only communications you're going to have is they'll leave your TV on so they can control you through it. When it's time for you to go down, get your vaccine and your RFID chip, they will tell you right on your TV where to go and how to do it. So don't worry about that. You will know where to go to get those things. The other things you won't know where to go to get. Another thing I saw already this morning, a First Amendment auditor was out doing an audit on a post office, and he had a mask over his face, for the sick, for people being sick, one of the white masks. He was wearing that. He wore it into the post office. The post office lady didn't want him in there videotaping. Then she started yelling, "Hey, he's got a mask on. He's obviously sick," and called the cops on this guy. Told the cops, "This guy's sick. He's in our building." Cops came. Cops didn't make him leave. But the fact of the story is, there's a woman right there, and it's on YouTube. It's already looked at somebody because they're wearing a mask, yelled they're sick, and called the cops. You are not going to be able to trust friends, neighbors, or nobody because of this very thing, people. Do you not understand that? We're going to be our own prison guards. We're going to be our own prisoners. We're going to be the prisoners, and we're going to be our own guards. They ain't even going to have to guard us because scared little snowflakey, scared little people will, because they're scared, they will call other people in with guns that will get people killed because they are scared of somebody with a mask on. And they want that person's rights completely stripped and thrown in jail. Well, what happens when it's you on the other side of that mask? I can't even believe that, people. I saw that this morning. My head exploded. I've been in there all morning cleaning my brains off the damn wall. I couldn't believe it. Let me see. I'm getting down here to the end. I just want to make sure I've got everything on here that I wanted. This one I did take some notes on. Something else I want to talk about that I was reminded of yesterday, and that's this. There are case law after case law after case law, people, from the Supreme Court that states the police had no, what do they call it? Have no, it is not the police department's job to protect you. Now, the reason why this came about in the Supreme Court is the fact that one of these school shootings, I don't remember which one it was, but if you go back and watch them, you see a couple of sheriff deputies that supposedly was caught on film coming up to the building when the kid, whoever was inside killing kids, was still in there shooting. Well, these cops turned and ran back to the damn cars. There you go, people. There's your thin blue line that they run towards the problem, not away from it. Well, these damn deputies ran from it. Well, the parents saw that and they sued those police deputies in court. It went all the way to the Supreme Court, people, and the Supreme Court ruled that a police officer's job has nothing to do with protecting anybody that's not in their custody. So if you're not in the custody of that deputy or that police officer, they have no grounds to have to protect you in any way, shape, or form. They can stand there and watch somebody beat you to death, and they would not have to do nothing about it just because they're a police officer. They don't have to help you. Patriot Act, people, look that one up. Come and get you. Come on your property anytime they want. Come in your house anytime they want without a warrant. They can come in, kidnap your ass, take you, put you in a cage, never have to bring charges up on you and keep you there indefinitely. Patriot Act, look it up, people. This stuff was put in place in order for what's getting ready to happen. Your rights have already been stripped. They're just lining you up. They'll put you down that chute to that slaughterhouse. That's what they're doing. And if you have any doubts, you only have one place to look. And it's called the Georgia Guidestones in Georgia. Look at it. Well, people, if I do